guys, welcome back. Right, so today we're going to be looking at an absolutely gorgeous solo by George Lynch on Dokken's third album, Under Lock and Key. This is actually one of my favorite Dokken album, if not the favorite. I think George was really hitting his peak here in terms of his sort of really tasteful playing, flashy licks combined with sort of a lot of melodies. It's crazy to think that basically Dokken and Don Dokken and George Lynch just did not get on at all, even at this point, at this early on, like just by the third album. Even before that, I think they just did not get on, but managed to create some absolutely great music together. So, you know, it's just one of those things, musical chemistry, but personal chemistry down. But anyway, musical chemistry up there. But anyway, now the song is actually a half a step down, like a lot of those songs from that era, particularly this kind of style of music. So we're gonna go and have a quick look at the cover I did of the solo. However, when we do the lesson, we're going to be back in standard tuning just to make it easier if you haven't got a guitar that's already sort of half a step down. So before we delve into this solo, let's have a quick look at the solo from Unchain the Night, the opening track of Under Lock and Key, Dokken's third album. See you soon in a minute. Right, okay, guys, so that was the quick cover I did of the solo of Unchain the Night. So let's have a break it down now and see what's happening in there. All right, okay, so I'll play the first part. I think there's about 5 parts I want to look through in this solo. We're going to go slowly and then break it down and then have a look at with some tabs. So let's have a look at the first. And remember, the lesson's actually going to be in standard tuning, so we are back to concert pitch. All right, so let's have a look at the first lick. Okay, so what's going on in this first lick? All right, so we're starting off with a slide into the 9th fret of G with a gorgeous vibrato here. Then we're going up to the 11th and 12th of G. Then we're sliding up straight to the 16th. Right, then from the 16th here, we're gonna go 16, 17. Then we're gonna do we're gonna do a hammer pull off on the 16, 17 of G. Then into the 14th of G. Then we're going to end up on the 12th of G. Then we're going to hit the 14th of A. So we're going to do a little string skip. Then back onto the 12th of G. Slide into the 11th of G. Then we're going to hit the 12th of D. Then we're going to go into the 9th, back to the G from the 11th into the 9th. And then we're going to hit the 10th of D. And then finish off back onto the 9th of G. And then I'm adding a little whammy bar, sort of a vibrato here. Slightly wider, there you go. Okay, so that's the first phrase. I absolutely love this particular opening phrase. I think it's a really good example about how to begin a solo with a real grabby, catchy, melodic hook, and then bring the fireworks in the next part. So again, think about structures of your solo when you're building your own solo. All right, so what I suggest we do now is have a look at the same part now with some tabs. Right, okay, so let's have a look now at the next part of the solo. So this is where George starts bringing a little bit more fireworks into his playing. And we're going to be introduced to a series of sort of legato tapping licks. So let's have a look at the part first, and then we'll break it down. All right, and this is probably the longest part of the solo that I want to break down. All right, let's go. Okay, so let's break that down. So what's going on here? All right, so what we're doing, we're going from the 5th fret of B, and we're picking that note, or you could just go out of nowhere, but I tend to pick it, and slide into the 7th. Now, what's happening here, as we slide into the 7th, we're gonna, it's a quick slide as well, by the way. Then we're gonna hammer onto the 8th, and then onto the 10th. And with our index finger on the right hand, we're gonna tap on the 12th, pull back on the 10th of B, back on the 8th, back on the 7th. We're gonna hammer back on the 8th, hammer back on the 10th, tap back on the 12th, come back, 8, 7, come back the same notes, back up again, tap again. And then here what we're gonna do, we're not gonna tap back on this one. We're gonna cut back and forth twice, and then we're gonna tap again. Again, we're not gonna tap back straight away. Now we're gonna tap once, back and forth. Then we're gonna tap back. As we hit that 7th fret on the 7, we tap 3 times back at the end. Then we're gonna go down to the 5th fret of B, and we're gonna go 5, 8, 5 pull off. Then we're gonna hit the 7th of B, then 5, 5 on the B. Then we're gonna start a scalar descent, starting on the 5th fret of G. Okay, so there's gonna be a little quick swap here. You're gonna go 5, 7, 4, 5 on the G. So 5, 7, 4, 5. Then we're gonna hit the 7th of D, then the 4th of G, back on the 4th of G, back on the 5th of D, 7th of D, 4th of D, and then we're gonna go up to the 7th of D. And then we're gonna do a little switch here. We're gonna put our 3rd finger onto the 6th of A, then onto the 4th of D, 5th of D, and then finish back on the 6th of A with a vibrato here. I wouldn't put tremolo picking here. I would just do a subtle little vibrato here. Okay? So that's probably the longest part of the section, which requires a little bit of coordination. Now, as with any of these kind of licks, that sort of, I tend to call what I call the, fast rock licks like that. I wouldn't get too bogged down about learning exactly what George is doing, as long as you get the feel. Because again, I've heard the studio version versus the live version and different live version. It's never the same. The players of that era didn't really worry about, am I playing exactly the same stuff? They'll find some key notes, worry about those key notes, some key licks that they'll play more or less the same every night. But remember, these guys used to be playing these songs night after night. So, they'd be changing it. So just try to get the vibe of what he's trying to do. And that will be really the goal here. Okay? So what I suggest we do is have a look at this part with some tabs. Right, okay, guys. So that was the second part. Like I said, that's probably the real flashy, meaty part of the solo there. So as we come off, so we remember we finished off on the 6th fret here with a vibrato. Let me play you the bit that comes after that. So after that sort of flashy part, again, George is doing the usual thing, bringing it back down with some melody in here. So we're finishing on the 6th, and let's have a look at what happens after that. Okay, so this is another little melodic little hook that he's playing. We're on the 17th of E. Then we hit that again, so we're bending the 17th and we bend it again. And then we bend it up without hitting, right? Then after that, we go into the 12th of E and we go 12, 14, 15 on the E. And then we're gonna bend the 15th of E, bring it back down gently. Then we're gonna go 15, 14, 15. Then we're gonna go 14, 12, 14. You can play picked or you can legato it. And then we're going to go 12, 14, 12. And then we're going to finish on the 13th of B. Okay? So that's basically how that lick. So that's a short lick. It's a melody interlude before, again, we bring on another couple of flashy licks in there. So let's have a quick look at this section with some tabs. Right, after that sort of melodic hook, we're going to try to finish off the solo here with a couple of sort of flashier licks again. So let's have a look at this first lick here, and then we'll break that down. Okay, so we're sort of in the sort of realm of pentatonic, blues, a little bit of chromaticism here, a bit of natural minor as well. But let's have a look at what's actually going on in this lick. Lots of legato playing here. All right, so we're going to start on the 12th fret of B, and we're going to basically hammer 12, 13, 12, 13. So everything's legato. You only play the first note. You only pick the first note. After that, all the part in the B string will be all legato playing. So we're going to go 12, 13, 12, 13, 12. And then we're going to hit the 15th fret of B. So this is a bit of a blues note mixed with a natural minor. And then we're going to do that another time. So we're going to do it 3 times in a row, the same thing. And on the 4th time, what we're going to do, we're going to go 12, 13, but we're going to then go 12, 15, 12, 15, 12. Okay, so that whole phrase first goes. And at this point, we're going to get a really nice blues bend on the 15th fret of B. And then we're going to go 12, 15, 12. Then we're going to bend the 14th of G. Land on the 12th of G. So release it back on the 12th of G. Then we're going to go 14, 12 on the G. Don't forget the vibrato there. Okay? So that's for the sort of 4th phrase. Again, not too difficult to do. Just a quick note. Those phrases with the legato are all in 6th up play. So they're fairly quick. So they're fairly quick little sort of trill kind of playing. All right, let's have a quick look at this section now with some tabs. So now we're entering the final part of the solo. So why don't we just play it first and then we'll break it down. Right, okay, so let's have a quick look at what's going on here. It's a lot of little chromaticism notes. I don't really think that George is clearly thinking I'm just going to play these. I think a lot of it is just trying to get flashy notes very quickly. All right, so let's have a look at what's happening here. We're starting on the 12th fret of D, then going 12, 13, 14 on the D. So a bit of chromaticism there. And then we're doing the same thing on the G. Then at this point, we're going to pull off 14, 12 on the G. Then 16, 12 on the G, then 14, 16 on the G. Then we're going to finish with a bit of blues notes here, going 15, 14, 12, 14. Then we're going to jump straight up onto the 17th of E. Hit it twice with a bend, 15th of E. Sorry, yeah, 15th of E, and then hit the 17th of B. Now, we're going to be holding that last note on the 17th of B for ages, and halfway through, you're going to try to get a harmonic. Doesn't work every time. I try it. Could be my... There you go. And you're going to try to sort of get a pinch harmonic around there, and then a bit of tremolo picking, and then you're out of the solo at that point. Okay? Like I said, guys, this is a solo that really illustrates the kind of type of player that George Lynch was, and a lot of players from that era. It's not meant to be the kind of solos that we hear a lot today, which is quite, in some ways, quite sterile, because the guys just don't let rip in the same way. Here, you can clearly see George he's got the licks, he's got the bag of tricks, and he's just launching into a solo. And I can pretty much guarantee that's how he thought about soloing. It's got to be an expression of yourself. Today's solo world tends to be, again, I've said this before, a little bit more manufactured, because it's just the way people are used to hearing things these days. But it's great to hear players like this that sort of really just let rip when they needed to. And the reason we know that they're doing that is because actually when you listen to their solos live, they sound the same, but at the same time quite different. So again, quite exciting to see what can these guys do when they actually play these solos live. Anyway, what I suggest we do, we just have a quick look at this final section with some tabs. 5, take 1.
Job to be liked. All right, thanks guys so much. I'm just gonna
Right, guys, but there you go. That concludes the solo for Unchained the Night. Not a particularly long solo or too hard as well. Some good licks to learn in terms of getting some of your more flashy kind of licks that you want to throw in very quickly, like what I call guitarist ticks, really. So is, if you've got a little melodic phrase and you can throw a couple of quick phrases like that, it always, always grabs people, gets the tension going before some melodic release. But Have a play around this solo. Check Dokken out. Like I said, this solo is actually played in half a step down, but there are some versions online that are on YouTube where you can see them in standard tuning as well if you want to jam along to the track. And until next time, stay safe and stay metal.